Well, 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 just when many of us thought that Philip Rivers was no longer capable of carrying a football team on his right shoulder, he does exactly that in Indianapolis on Sunday, rallying his Colts from a 21-0 deficit to beat the Cincinnati Bengals 31-27. Let's not forget, it was just 1 week ago after a dreadful performance against the Cleveland Browns that many in Indy were calling for Philip Rivers to perhaps be replaced. Philip was off to a rough start. They were calling him a highly decorated, highly paid game manager. But boy, have they changed their tune today. In this morning's Indy Star, Jim Aiello writing this, quote, Philip Rivers won the Indianapolis Colts a football game. Without Philip Rivers dropping dimes all over Lucas Oil Stadium, the Colts don't rally from 21 points down to stun the Cincinnati Bengals 31-27. Without his success Sunday, they don't mount the second largest comeback in Indianapolis Colts franchise history. How about that? It was the second largest comeback in Indianapolis Colts history. Philip Rivers did it in Game 6 of his Indianapolis Colts tenure. Let's look at the numbers. 29 of 44, 371 yards, 3 touchdowns for Philip, just 1 miscue, 1 interception, a quarterback rating of 105.4. Yes, the Colts were down 21-0 in the second quarter, and that's when Philip went to work. He hit his tight end, Trey Burton, a 10-yard touchdown in the second quarter, followed by a 17-yard touchdown to Zach Pascal. And then in the fourth quarter, the finishing touches, a 14-yard touchdown to another tight end, Jack Doyle. And Philip Rivers now improving to 4-2 on the season with the Indianapolis Colts. That would tie them for the final playoff spot in the AFC East with the Cleveland Browns. Of course, Cleveland, with their win last week over the Colts, would have the tiebreaker. But all that being said, when many were ready to jump off the Philip Rivers bandwagon, he comes through with his best performance to date in a Colts uniform. Of course, many of us here in San Diego are used to this, what they're calling the Philip Rivers roller coaster. You know, taking the good with the bad. You never know what you're going to get. And that's exactly what his head coach was saying after this football game. Frank Reich said, quote, you have to live with some mistakes, but the good is going to far outweigh 1 or 2 bad things that happen. Now, at times it's more than 2 bad things that happen, but in this case, Philip Rivers showed that even at the age of 38, he is still capable of getting it done through the air, proving many of us wrong for maybe giving up on him a little too soon. All right, up next, the Colts have a bye week this coming week, so they'll remain 4-2 for a while, but Philip and the Colts very much in the mix in the AFC. And how about this? The popularity of Philip here in San Diego still very strong. The Colts and the Bengals went head-to-head yesterday at 10 a.m. with the Browns and the Steelers. And on paper, I think many would look at that and say, wow, that Browns-Steelers game is going to easily win in the ratings battle. It did not. Philip and the Colts, a 6.9 rating, a 20 share. The Browns and Steelers, a 5.8 rating. Of course, that game got out of hand pretty early as the Steelers took care of business. The big ratings winner for the day yesterday was the afternoon game on Fox. It was Tom Brady and the Buccaneers beating Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. A 14.7 rating was the biggest football rating of the day. The Rams and Niners last night looked like a good one. I know a lot of people here have clamored to see more Rams or 49ers games on TV. Only did a 9.8 on Sunday Night Football. That's pretty low for the prime time game. All right, that is going to do it with your Philip Rivers report. I'm Kyle Kraska. See you tonight on News 8 at 5 o'clock.